Okay, guys. So for those of you that don't know, the grand jury testimony is available for Randall Beane and Heather. Now, in this, I've been reading this on and off while I have time. Now, in this, it basically corroborates Randall's story that you heard from the live phone call that I had with him. Like it corroborates the fact that, in my eyes anyway, it corroborates the fact that when he was arrested, those were not the kind of people that were being claimed that they were. Just in the terminology and the words used, they were very vague. I think those were Blackwater. That's number one. There was something along that lines. Number two, it corroborates the fact that they did not have a good warrant. They had made up some bullshit warrant. There's a lot of stuff in here. It's 77 pages. Okay. Now I can do like a breakdown when I have the time. I'm going to try to make the time because it's going to be very important. But for those of you, until I get a chance to go through it, I don't know. You guys let me know if it'd be better to do it in one shot or if it would be better to do it in chunks. I've already gone through it once. I'm going to have to go through it several times more, though, because there is a lot here. But basically, everything that we heard from Randall over the phone is pretty much corroborated in this. Now, as you guys know, Randall is still in jail. He's got to clear up another warrant that he has. Randall is hopefully he'll be getting out soon. But this court testimony, this sheds a lot of light on all of this, and in many ways, let's say, okay, because a lot of the stuff in here does not sound legitimate. It does not sound professional. It sounds very off, almost as if they're intentionally trying to maybe even throw the case. I don't know. I mean, literally anybody that reads this will see a lot of red flags in here. So for those of you that haven't read this already, I'm going to put the link in the description box. I think it's very important for those that haven't read this to read this. They kept talking about the videos online. There's a lot of information here, guys, and from what I see with this, I pretty much think that if it wasn't for the money laundering, that they really didn't have anything. And I don't even think that. There's another thing I'm going to show you, which is something that they've been trying to push, and it's not related to this, but I think it falls hand in hand, and I think that this is a new law they're trying to push for cases like this. They're doing it under the guise of terrorism, but the reality is it's just another way of control. They're trying to push a law right now through that if you do not fill out paperwork, if you carry more than $10,000 on you, that it's punishable with jail time. That if you have more than $10,000 in Bitcoin at any time, that it's and you don't fill out a form, then it's punishable by jail time. It even goes with gift cards, prepaid cards, etc., etc., etc. And they can seize all of your assets under this guise. They can basically steal everything that you own. And guys, I want to bring something up, because when it comes to what I've woken you guys up with so far, I've woken you guys up on some stuff, okay? I've said several times there's a lot more, and I'm going to cover a lot more, and I'm going to get into a lot more as time progresses. I don't want to put people into like shock from, or overwhelm them. But I do want to point out something that's very interesting, along with everything that's been going on, Hurricane Harvey, and then you got also a graduate of Army JAG School in Charlottesville, Virginia. Like, there's just little things, little coincidences, and like mockeries that happen, and it seems to be so much that it can't just be coincidental. Not saying that it's definitely anything, but the fact that with everything that's gone on, you have Hurricane Harvey, which there was already another tropical storm Harvey, and there's plenty of names to use. And I'm not saying that to stroke anyone's ego. I'm not saying that in a way like that. I'm saying that in a sense of mockery. The elites love to mock us, just like Charlottesville that just happened. So guys, just like I've been telling you, and this is what corroborates the story here, from right here, we'll go here. Okay. Again, that was a valid routing number for the Federal Reserve Bank. And just so you know, again, I apologize. I like to give a little detail about what that is. The Federal Reserve is the central bank of the United States. It's commonly referred to as like the bank of the U.S. government. The Federal Reserve is not part of the U.S. government. I just want to say that because it bugs me every time I see that. It's a private bank owned by the Rothschild banking cartel. And that is located in New York, New York. Yes, ma'am. It's my understanding. I think they have several locations. At least you fixed that, because they're not just located in New York, New York. But this one in particular is New York. So he would enter the valid routing number, but when it came to enter a funding source, he entered a fraudulent account number. Guys, this is why I've said from the beginning. Honestly, at this point, I think everybody's already got the message, but entered a fraudulent account number. So to all you trolls over at Bleeding Edge Digital, okay, Randy swears he entered his social security number exact. And that number was essentially Mr. Beane's social security number with one number altered. Why would they go to the point of mentioning that one number was altered? Is that because using your actual social security number is actually legitimate? Is that why? Is that why they lied and said that he altered one number? Is that why they make a point of saying he altered one number? Specifically, one number. Randy, you heard from him on that live call that I did. He did not change his social security number. So they're saying it's a fraudulent account because he altered one number. And we allege that number in the indictment multiple places. Is that the number ending in 1135? Well, you know what's funny is there's not a zero at the end. They must have said he put it at the beginning. What? And so that number was basically his social security number with one number wrong. That's correct. Yes, ma'am. And so what did he do? Well, there were numerous attempts by Mr. Beane through this scheme. He attempted to obtain, like I said, numerous CDs. And it's my understanding the way USAA system works is that those were funded by USAA but ultimately reversed. However, 2 of those transactions did go through. They did go through. That's because he didn't change his social security number. They went through. So they were funded. Real money went into the CD, 2 of them. One for $500,000 and one for $999,000. Y'all have to forgive me. I am a lawyer, so these numbers run together. 999,000. That's the 2 CDs that were actually funded, yes ma'am. And so what appeared once these CDs were funded? Okay, once these CDs were funded, Mr. Beane then proceeded to liquidate the CDs, cash them out early, incurring a penalty for doing so because there were 30-day CDs. So he incurs a penalty and then takes that money from the CD and moves it to his personal account at USAA. And then what did he do with these funds? The funds were then used for basically personal expenses, a portion of the funds approximately. So that all that other stuff doesn't matter. This is what matters, because if you guys remember, I put out a video on the fact that USAA's vice president of their financial fraud department, he either got fired or he quit. And I know what the Bleeding Edge pack over there was saying, but guess what? No, normally it's not the VP, it's not the head honcho that gets the boot. Normally, it's either a middle or lower guy that takes the fall. We don't know whether he got fired or if he quit. My personal gut feeling is telling me that he quit. And I think it's because this was a scheme, and I'm going to say scheme now, okay? This was a scheme by the federal government and the Federal Reserve to say with USAA that he changed his social security number when he didn't. All right? When he didn't. That way they could say it was fraud when it wasn't, because they wanted to arrest them. They wanted to make an example out of Randy and Heather because they had such a huge success. They were, even though others want to say they weren't, their success gave them the movement so much life, and it had so many people hopeful. So they wanted to arrest them to scare and scatter. Divide and conquer. So they lied. And I think that VP of the fraud department, maybe he actually had a conscience, maybe he actually had a soul, maybe he was a God-fearing man. And when they came to him about this, he turned around and could not. He said he couldn't do it, and he either got sacked or said he couldn't be a part of it, and he left. Because Randall swears he did not change his social security number. And the fact that in here, it's everything that Randall said is in here. Everything that Randall said in his live interview with me is in here. So Randall Keith Beane was completely and totally honest with everything that he gave to us. This is huge, guys. This is absolutely huge. This, I know certain people want to, for some reason, deflect the attention from this. This should be talked about and investigated and picked apart by everybody in the community. Because this exposes They said it was a fraudulent it was a fraudulent account, and that's because there was a digit changed in the social security number. It's all in the presentation. It's all in the wording. It's all right there. I'm going to go make some more videos going through this as I can. I want each and every one of you to familiarize yourselves with this and read through this and understand it and look for your own things that jump out to you. But this should really make a lot of sense to a lot of people. You've got the VP, the head honcho for the fraud, either gets fired or quits. And this isn't something that, you know, it was something that they could have controlled, because he wasn't doing anything wrong. That's why they had to lie and say he changed the social security number by 1 digit. And ultimately, the burden of proof is going to be on them. They're going to have to prove that. They're going to have to prove that. I really can't wait to see that proof. Probably going to manufacture something. Or maybe not, because it does seem like they're going to throw the case in this. There's a lot of mistakes in this, and it seems like it was more of an attention grab, that it was to deter people. They did this to try to deter people, and then when they realized that it wasn't going to work, they backed off. You know, all of these federal agencies and all of these government agencies that are aiding and abetting the fraud that is the Federal Reserve, they're all going to be held responsible for what they've done, because it's going to come out. Like the Federal Reserve, the Rothschild banking cartel, they can't keep this bullshit stream going forever. There's too many people now awake and asking questions. And more are waking up every single day. The game is over. I hope that for you guys, it makes as much sense to you as it does to me. See, because he said specifically that he did not change that. And I think that the fact that they're wording it saying specifically by 1 digit, I think that says a lot. Because if I would have believed more had they charged them and said that them using their actual social security number as an account number was fraud, or saying that it was a fraudulent account, him just using his actual social security number. But by them having to do 1 digit off, because I guarantee you he tried that, his main number. I'm not saying that he never changed the number, but I'm sure he did it both ways. He says he didn't, so maybe he didn't do it both ways. Maybe he only did it his main number. I'm just saying, no matter what, the guy definitely would have tried his own personal social security number before changing it. Think of every single person who has done this, who has tried this. Did you automatically jump to changing your number? No, you used your normal social security number. Probably. This tells so much. It's not even funny. And there's a lot more. But just that alone should have everybody talking and asking questions. Alright guys, if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, do so now. Most importantly, share this information. Get this out everywhere. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Much love, guys. God bless you.